Alrighty, guys. So, today, day 185. It is a rest day. So, actually taking a rest for the moment. I'm done with our extra projects for the most part. I've got to save up some funds now. Go ahead and get to the next part of it, which kind of got to decide whether or not I'm going to do the gazebo next on that big 12 by 12 slab that we poured, which is going to be our new little fire pit area, or if I'm going to go ahead and do the raised flower bed around the fence line first. So I'm guessing they'll probably be about the same cost. So we'll have to figure out which one we want to do first. I think the gazebo would be the most usable, obviously, because that can get used from the day it gets put up. As for the planter bed, can't really do anything with it until next spring. So I've got like 5-6 months until, really I could plant things and get that going. And like I could put the rock in it, but then it's just going to be sitting there with no plants and everything, and I don't think it's worth rushing, more or less. So I think that'll be a project we'll do coming into next spring when it goes to start to warm up, once it gets back into like the low 50s or so. Next, probably Marchish, I would guess. We'll get into that. So I'm thinking the next thing is going to be the gazebo. So with that, we actually get some rest days now. So far today, with it being rest day, did the morning walk. We'll go do a evening walk later on. Make sure we're getting our steps in. That doesn't change. We do our walks no matter what. So now, as for lifting, we just don't lift on our rest days, other than we've been doing a bunch of yard work, which kind of is almost just as taxing as lifting has been. So my rest has been kind of crap, really. But now I can already tell today, like, not doing anything, like I could just kind of feel the energy coming back into my body just from relaxing, not having to do much. The mental stress of trying to get something done is alleviated and gone. So I don't have that like anxiety feeling of like I need to do things. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about like the mental rest. So if you're not giving yourself the chance to like kind of like unwind and just relax mentally, not be stressed, not be anxious about having to do something or things getting done, like you're also going to, like, if you're always in that state and your stress levels are increased, like you're putting a lot of stress on your heart all of the time. People who live a more stressful life are more likely to have hypertension and overall like cardiac problems later on in life, because they just have lived at such a high level of stress. It really takes its toll on the heart, and I guess mental function as well. So if you're always in a heightened state, like mentally, you're going to get tired. Your body's going to get tired. It's not designed to constantly be, set in, I guess, more or less kind of like that fight and flight sense. Like if you're always living at that level because you're so stressed and worried and anxious, you've got to take it down a notch, even if it's just for a couple hours or something, a day or two a week. Preferably, you can take a whole day off and not do something, but not everyone can. Life doesn't allow that. But if you can find a couple hours a night to unwind and just be at peace with yourself, you will notice that your progress gains, your ability to focus, your energy levels, your sleep, all of that's going to get much, much better. Like last night, I slept so good knowing that I didn't have to get up and do anything today. I fell asleep a bit earlier than I have been, and then the level of sleep I got was awesome. I haven't slept that deeply now in probably like 3 weeks or so. And it's because I've just been not even like anxious or worried or anything. It's just like, oh, I know I have to go do this project and I have to go work on it. And like it's messed with my sleep schedule, which has messed with my recovery. It's kind of messed with my workouts. Because I haven't been able to recover. And I've been, stressing the body physically on my rest days and not allowing it that time to reset. So, yesterday, I kind of noticed it a little bit, but not too much. I mean, so I was feeling good enough yesterday because I had finished moving rock. I didn't have to move that much. I didn't do any yesterday. And so when I got into the gym, I felt pretty energized. I was ready to rip. And it fell into the point of wanting to ego lift yesterday, which isn't bad. Ego lifting makes gains. No matter what anyone wants to say, like, if you've got that drive to just move shit, you will make progress. And that is a big help. Now, I mean, granted, you can ego lift too much, get injuries, things like that. But if you've just got that raw want to just like push your limits constantly and work to failure, you are going to make gains. Especially if you're giving yourself the ability to recover and rest. Now that's the part to it, is if you're constantly ego lifting, you're just pushing yourself. I don't think you're going to get the recovery and the rest you need to sustain that for a long period of time. I think that's where the problem lies. It isn't itself necessarily in ego lifting, unless your form's just incredibly atrocious or whatever. But it's the fact that you can push yourself so hard and not give yourself the time and ability to recover. And I think that's where the biggest problem lies for a lot of ego lifters. Like, for example, now, big name, Sam Solik. Dude is a massive ego lifter. He loves to move heavy motherfucking weight and push himself all of the time. But I have noticed in the last, 6 months or so, he's talked a lot more about like the squeezing sets and slowing it down, reducing the weight a little bit, and just getting that real heavy squeeze. And he's done that more and more. And I think some of it kind of deals with the fact he trained a little bit with Samson and then with Urs. And they talk a whole lot more about that contraction and the stretch while moving, for the average person, some heavy motherfucking weight. But for them, in their aspect of it, it's like moderate weight. But they're moving it for a lot of reps with control, big squeeze, and it's just those last 2 or 3 reps on like the final set, maybe the last 2 sets. They might let the form get a little sloppy, but within reason. So, with that, I've noticed, I used to train a bit more like that, allow my form to get a little bit sloppy, push for those extra reps. A lot of drop sets for my last 1 or 2 sets. I don't do that anymore. So it's probably something I want to start incorporating again, at least specifically for my chest. Because I've noticed with changing to this upper-lower split and doing 2 chest exercises 2 times a week, so 4 exercises, 3 working sets, and a warm-up or 2 warm-up sets total. I don't think it's been enough stimulation for my chest, but making this change has made drastic changes in my calves, doing calf raises every twice a week now. hitting the glutes and hamstrings specifically by themselves and then having a quad focus day by themselves has made drastic changes in the way my quads look, my calves look. My hamstrings, they've probably actually gotten a little weaker because I'm not deadlifting at that super heavy volume all the time, but I feel like they've grown in size. And then overall, like glute definition, that's actually increased for me. Or should I say, I wouldn't quite say definition, but size has grown. But so as for the training aspect of things, I've got that to change, and where I feel like I've been at now, recapping on week 9. So we're going to see some drop sets on chest for at least my last set. And then we're probably going to make that change first. I think that's where I'll leave it at. I don't want to change too many things all at once. I have brought my caloric limit down a little more. I was up closer to 1900. Now I'm probably close. Now I'm closer to more like 1650. Because I deleted some carbs out of it. So I'm still trying to reach the same protein goal. That's decreased a little bit, but in the manner of cutting, I've put myself into a fairly large deficit. So I am looking forward here to, let's see, we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday's my birthday. So basically 3 days. I'm trying to hit that 195 mark, like 195 to 195.9. If I can hit that, then I've reached the current goal I want to get to with this little miniature cut over the last 9 weeks here. By going, not even 9 weeks, it's really been like 4 for the cut portion of it. So I'm going to be looking forward to being able to go back into a maintenance period, which will be, for me, is right around 21 to 2200 calories. So if I can get to where I can maintain like 196-ish, I kind of want to float there until after Thanksgiving. I'll give myself, like 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks of maintenance now, sitting 6 pounds further down. And then after that, go ahead and go back into another cut for another 4 weeks, going from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And see if we can go to the 190, 191 mark. And see if we could be able to start the New Year's at like 190. If we get to 190, we're going to be looking pretty good. Start the year off for what we want to hit next year. So if I can get to 190, that'll put me pretty close, probably to that 15% body fat mark that I'm trying to get to. Probably be 16.5% body fat, I would guess, maybe 17 at that point. Right now I'm sitting at a flat 20%. So if I can drop another 6 pounds while I'm at 200, 196, but we'll do the math at 200. So if I'm 200 pounds, 20%, 40 pounds of fat. So if I can go down 6 pounds, right, that would be, so every 1% at 200 is 1.9 pounds. So I can drop 2%, possibly 2.5% from where I am now. So that'd put me, 17.5. So if I can get between 16.5 to 17.5% body fat by New Year, we're going to start the year off right. So if we hit that, we'll go through New Year's. We'll probably do a maintenance stage there at around that 190 mark. Again, doing this little drop 4 to 6 pounds, and then maintenance. Drop 4 to 6 pounds, and then maintenance. Has actually been working very well for me now. It allows my body time to recover. I don't feel so depleted. I'm not losing as much strength as if I was to just drop, 20 pounds at a jump again. Because my goal isn't quite to be this light. My goal overall is 200 pounds at 15% body fat. So at some point, I'm going to have to go back into like a surplus of calories, but very small. 50 to 100 calories a day. Just enough to support gaining muscle and strength. And then we're going to be able to work on hitting my strength goals I want to hit, because we're going to be back in a surplus, and getting to that 200 pounds being 12 to 15% body fat, because that's the overall goal. That's where I want to try to hit, and see if we can get there while we're natural. So if not, it is what it is. I'm not against any sort of PEDs necessarily, but they're currently not on my plan at all. So it's one, they're fucking expensive, and two, kind of, I enjoy being fairly lazy, and that stuff kind of puts you on a pretty strict regimen there, because you have to remember to take it, and then you've got to make sure you're eating correctly, and you've got to work out even harder. So you got to be ready to make sure everything is locked in if you're going to go that route. So I'm trying to do it a little more waxed and not so to the T black and white. So it doesn't quite fall in line with the way I'm trying to achieve my current physique I'm working towards. So, but that, guys, that's going to be our rest day, our training progress and training plan talk that we're going to have. And then I'll see y'all tomorrow for lagging body parts, which maybe we'll add a chest movement in on lagging day too. Getting a little more focus in on it. So, but we'll see. I'll see you guys tomorrow. So with that, make sure you guys are working toward your goals. And most of all, just don't be a lazy fuck.